So this is the podcast with my good friend Gary Roundtree. Enjoy.
But anyway, you know the main reason I'm doing this, because we've both been in a bad place for years, and then we both had that eureka moment and thought, can't do this anymore. And how many years is it now that you've not been drinking?
I'll be totally honest, I didn't have that eureka moment. It wasn't something that was, it wasn't something that dawned on me that I think I should do. I was pushed to it. I had to do that. I had to make the change. I had to stop drinking. I had to change my lifestyle because I was literally hanging on by a thread, whether it be my relationship with Claire, my partner, my family, my friends, my close friends. Plenty of associates would like to see me drinking, but I was very close. I mean, it was the last chance saloon, so I had to do something drastic, or I would either still be drinking, I would be alone, or I'd be dead.
It's a bad thing to get to that stage, isn't it? Because I remember doing the same thing, drinking like we have done all our lives, and then suddenly you get to that stage where it's like that one more. It's like binge drinking, and it was like one more, and you don't realise you're doing it until you do get to it. There is a breaking point in there that you have to get to before you think, yes, I've got to do something about this.
Yeah, I mean, everybody, what I've always said about in recoveries, everybody has a rock bottom, and everybody's rock bottom's different. It doesn't mean that you're out on the street with no money and living in cat piss. Just everybody has a rock bottom, their own rock bottom, and you've got to reach that rock bottom, and everybody has a day one, which I try and tell everybody. You see some of these people on the sober groups and stuff, and they're saying like, I've only been sober 4 days, and everyone has a day one, every day is a new day. Every day you've got to wake up and then reassess the situation and go again and make the best of that day possible,
Yeah, exactly. So, how did you...
Time-wise, 4 years, nearly 3 months.
Wow. Well done, mate. I'm 3 years and 3 months.
Amazing, isn't it?
It is amazing. Best thing I ever did. And people still don't get it. They don't get what... Well, you got to have one drink. No, I ain't. You don't need it anymore. You just see life in a different light, don't you? It's like weird. People don't understand until they've done it.
I've always said, right, everybody's individual, everybody's different, but only somebody who suffered like we have would understand. Like, I've got 2 brothers, both love a drink, but both can take it or leave it. My middle brother, for example, our Mark, he just never could understand it. So he just basically said, I don't understand the addiction side of it. So he could go out for 15 pints on a Saturday night, be as rough as hell. Can't remember getting home, kebab all over the living room and whatever. And he could then wake up on a Sunday morning, rough as shit, have a bottle of Lucozade, some, ibuprofen or whatever, full English breakfast, and pull himself round. Whereas genetically, I'm made differently because of my addictive personality, because the cravings used to be so strong. I'd have them same 15 pints, but while he's in bed at 4 o'clock in the morning, my mind would be telling me, right, I need some more of that. I need another fix. I need some more of what you've just given us. And I'd be down. And honestly, Wayne, at my worst, on my worst binges, I would literally be looking at anything that contained alcohol, whether it was mouthwash, whether it was, I would even say nail varnish remover. I know that sounds sad, but when you're desperate, you're desperate. And when I was at the depths, of my addiction, where the doctors wouldn't treat me for being an alcoholic because they said to me for years and years and years and years, you're a binge drinker, an habitual binge drinker, because that goes hand in hand with your addictive personality. So when you've had one too many, the old analogy, one's too many, 20's not enough. But then I can go 3 or 4, 5, 6 months without a drink. So my cycle would be binge drink, create a lot of destruction, a lot of heartache, a lot of carnage, and then come off the drink, spend the next few months building bridges back up. The remorse was incredible. But what I also found with drinking when I was in these states is it makes you a narcissist. So it's everybody else's fault. Everybody else's fault. And the continuous battle I had with Claire when she used to say to me, this cannot continue. You're this, you're that, you're the other, you're a monster in the drink, you're this, you're that, and the other. And I'd be like, well, you knew what you were getting into when you met me 20 years ago and I was on stage as an entertainer, pissed every night. And I just, I never took blame for anything. And that's what happens. That's part of the illness. So for me, being told I was just a binge drinker kind of give me the green light to just keep doing what I was doing. And every time I did a binge and every time I created a bit more heartache, I chipped away a bit more at people's trust, at my family's love, at my friendships love, and my friends' love, and at my friendships. And yeah, you as a drinker, you never want to hear anything. You could wake up on a Sunday morning, have said the most horrific things to some of the people you love the most, and then when you're told to apologise to them, you're like, what? No, I can't. They know what I'm like. It's fine. They'll get over it. Horrible.
I'll tell you one thing
Horrible.
now. Another thing that we've got in common, apart from being good mates, is that we've got good women, because obviously Claire has been through the mill with you and she's still there and you're stronger than ever. Obviously, Caroline with me, with my ADHD, I've only just realised this is going to be another subject that I'll talk about, ADHD, to other people in other podcasts. When you realise what problem you've got, then you realise why previous relationships have failed and whatever else. But Caroline has been like, she knows, she's even read up on it, on how to deal with it and how to understand the madness in my brain, and she's still there. And obviously we're getting married, and it's a good story to think that anybody that's looking, if you've got somebody that understands, it's completely different. We're lucky to have people that understand us, do you know what I mean?
Massively. And, with any relationship, when you commit, to your life partner for the rest of your life, it is, you take the bad with the good. And Caroline is very well aware. She's on this journey with you. She's living through her own demons, and she's living life sober and enjoying, the sobriety together. And that's hugely important. Hugely important. But no different to Claire and I. I'm not going to say because Claire and I have been together longer and she's been through worse shit with me than what Caroline is with you, we're only different because, again, every journey is different. Everybody's circumstances are individual, but we all have that one common denominator, which is either addiction or alcohol-related issues. And then, you speak about the ADHD. Now, I know you take some flack on social media. I watch it from afar. And we also know as well, ADHD now is a word that gets, a group of letters that get thrown around willy-nilly. But they become more prevalent, the same as autism, the same as mental health and Andy's Man Club and all the rest of it. Now, if you had a list of ADHD, and you can't say it, that's one of them. ADHD, right? If you've got a list of 20 ADHD traits, I can guarantee you will have, and there's a graph. So, are you ADHD? There's a list of 20 traits, 10 and above, possibly 15 and above, most definitely 18 and above, 100%. Now, I can guarantee you will have between 15 and 19. I know for a fact I've got 18.
Really?
100%, because you posted something online of a list of ADHD traits, and it wasn't brought to my attention myself. It was Claire, who doesn't buy into a great deal of stuff, said to me, "You're almost every one of those." And she also seen it a while ago on TV. Joe Swash and Stacey Sulman on their behind the scenes life story, Living as Man and Wife. It was a series about them, and everything. And again, never seen it. Everything Joe Swash was doing, Claire was like, "Gary's like that. That's Gary. That's Gary. That's Gary." And he has been diagnosed with ADHD. And that's why we are. I'm not going to swear on a podcast, but nuts. 100%. 100%. And that thing, mate, I know I'm talking a lot now because it's all about me. But right, that thing you said a little while ago about going into the room for something as stupid as picking up a pen, and by the time you've got around to picking up that pen, you've made 3 phone calls, returned 2 emails, done the housework, ran the Hoover through, and then you thought, shit, I've got to go and get that pen I came in for.
Yeah. It's
mad.
It's mad.
Brain. It's massively.
So what was who was the person that you told about what you were going through? Was it Claire? And what happened when you did? Was it like, or did she initiate it? Well, you've already said that she initiated saying you've got to stop. You've got to sort it.
For 15 years. For 15 years, Claire said you had to stop. For 15 years, I was creating a really, really, really bad reputation for myself as a person, as a performer. I was upsetting people, but people were at the end of the tether. Now, again, when you're in the depths of it, you don't want to hear it. So one ear out the other. And I was being told, Claire's mum, Lorraine, I mean, she lived through it. as much as Claire did. We used to live together in Tenerife. She came over to live by us in Gran Canaria. She was like Claire's sister, God rest her soul. And they were so close. So she's lived through my addiction, and Mum's been there every step of the way. And she used to say to me, you know, there's people who want you at their wedding but refuse to invite even Claire for fear of you turning up, because they did not know which Gary was going to turn up, whether it was going to be nice Gary or pissed, antagonistic, horrible, foul-mouthed arsehole Gary. And that was the worry that, you know, everybody had around me, because nobody knew which Gary was going to turn up.
That's
And
just
everybody knew, like Claire used to say to everybody, you know, lovely Gary is the most beautiful soul in the world. He'll do anything for anybody. He'll be there at a shot. He's very generous. He's loving. He's caring. And but Gary with the drink was just a horrible prick. Now, for them 15 years, and I don't mind what part of this gets broadcast because none of it's a secret anymore. For them 15 years, she was telling me, you know, after every single binging session, after every single blood test I had, because I had private, that was another thing, I had private medical health insurance in the Canaries. So I just go and see my doctor and say, listen, I've had another session. Do me another set of blood tests for my liver and my kidneys, and give me some diazepam to calm this withdrawal down. And it was a cycle every couple of months. And that was just money to him. He's like, right, see you in a couple of months. No help there. But that is, you know, the destination for it. You know, any holiday destination, there's very little help for alcoholism. But this particular time is when I left my 14-month-old little girl and my missus in a foreign country, came back to do 2 shows, but the tap had already been turned in my head because I'd been drinking heavily. Can't remember flying home. Can't remember doing the first show. Barely stumbled through the second show. And then the next day I was due to fly back to continue our break over in Gran Canaria. I didn't. I rewarded myself for doing the 2 shows because that's how much of a prick I was. I embarrassed myself in front of my friends, family, and people who paid good money to watch me. And then I thought, because I got through it, I'm going to reward myself with a bottle of vodka. 4 days later, Claire's brother had to break into the house to find me on the floor covered in piss.
I remember you telling me
Yeah,
that.
and Claire was in the Canaries with our 14-month-old little girl, and had to fly home herself with 3 22-kilo cases, 3 10-kilo hand luggages, 14-month-old girl, and a broken pram. The next day, I obviously was on the most horrific come down. And Mum drove all the way from Barmouth to Birmingham to spend 2 days doing what she did, and would, you know, tear strips off me. But it still wasn't enough. So I phoned one of my closest friends called Shirley. And Shell has been sober, I think it's 9 years now. And I said, Shell, what am I going to do? She said, you're going to go to Alcoholics Anonymous and you're going to go now. I said, I can't today. She said, well, you're going to go tomorrow morning. She said, I'm going to get you your local group and you're going to go tomorrow morning. And I'm going to make that appointment for you. I'm going to tell you where it is. You're going to attend and then you're going to call me afterwards. And the next day, I went to Longbridge Methodist Church and I sat there quiet for the first hour. You don't have to speak on your first visit. And then at the end of it, I sat there and I said, my name's Gary and I'm an alcoholic. And I burst into tears. And that was all I said, that first one. The next one, I built up enough courage, I suppose. It's mad, isn't it? I've spoken in front of hundreds of thousands of people with a microphone.
You're making me fucking tear up here, sorry. Seeing you like that.
Thousands of people with a microphone, you know, in front of 1,500 people with a microphone telling jokes. But to be in that circle of people, of 25, 35, 40 people, to then speak, I was like that. And the next time I went, I just went, I left my missus and my little girl in a foreign country because alcohol was more important to me. And then I met Zaf, who is a Muslim alcoholic. And me and him clicked straight away. And he's been my sponsor since. And I went every week and I started the 12-step program. And then I'll be totally honest, I didn't commit to it. I didn't commit to the 12-step program, but I found comfort and solace within the group because nobody on this planet, like I've already said, can advise somebody about addiction unless they've suffered. There's no textbook, there's no manual, there's no university degree can tell a doctor, a professional, a physician, whatever they may be called, how somebody feels when they've got an addiction to alcohol, and only other alcoholics can understand. And Alcoholics Anonymous did that for me, because everybody there has been worse than me. Everybody there's had a day one, and everybody there's been in the shoes where you're fucking standing. It's incredible. And I just felt elated when I came out. I felt elated. It was amazing. Absolutely amazing. And then I went every week, and then me and Zaf, we still connect. He's still my sponsor. I don't go to the meetings as much as I should, but I'm sober, and that's all I'm grateful for. And Zaf's amazing. You know, if I ever felt I'd want to ever pick up a drink, I'd just phone him up and he'd answer the phone 24/7.
Well, cheers for that, mate. I didn't expect you like holding tears back, but obviously when you're talking about stuff like this, it is raw, and if you don't talk about it, it can just hit you like that, and that's just proof of how it is. It's mad. But well done for coming out with that, mate. It's like fucking. I was like, bloody hell, cheers, mate.
Sorry, pal. I mean, I know I like talking. Everybody knows I like talking. But when I talk about sobriety and recovery and stuff like that, I'm very, very passionate about it. Like I've always said to some friends, you know, I don't have the answers. I don't have all the answers. And you know, nobody likes to show off. I'm not bragging that I'm sober and that I'm, you know, winning this battle against a disease, because it is an illness, it is a disease. What anybody's opinion is, that's a fact. And I'm not saying that I've got all the answers, but I will also have time to listen to somebody who suffers with alcohol addiction. 100%.
And how do you feel it? How do you feel that affected or helped your mental health? Because obviously, when you're drinking, you've got all these demons. I don't want to drink, and then you drink, and then you regret it the next day, and the same cycle, like you say. And even now, I luckily I don't ever get tempted, even if I'm in the pub and I've got some mate that's supposed to be a mate. Come on, have a drink. You ain't had one for ages, and I'm like, I don't want a drink. I don't need a drink, and I can literally taste the lager in my mouth now. And I used to feel it was quite refreshing, especially in the summer. You go and have a pint in the beer garden, and I can taste it. But now that because I'm mentally in a different place, I know that I'm quite happy going to a beer garden and sitting and drinking a pint of orange squash. I don't need it, and I can taste that lager, and it makes me cringe now. And it's like, it's just really weird. People don't get it. It's like they don't understand that they've been indoctrinated over the years to believe that alcohol is part of
Society.
society.
Social society.
Oh yeah, but nobody questions all these adverts on the telly and stuff on billboards for over the years about alcohol dressing up in a nice package to make it like appeal. But at the end of the day, the cold hard fact is that alcohol is poisonous, and it's a poison. You know, obviously what it does to you proves it's a poison, but people just they're not ready to listen to that side of it. They just think, oh, you're a stick in the mud, you don't have a drink. That's the weird thing I can't get my head around. It's just like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, for me, sober, I've tried, when I first stopped drinking, you know, I used to drive past the beer gardens when I was driving to gigs and looking in there and seeing myself drinking a pint of Thatcher's Haze, because that was mine, or a pint of lager top, or a pint of lager and lime. Very, very thirst quenching, very lovely and refreshing in a big beer garden in the sunshine. But as soon as I thought of touching an alcoholic drink, it took me to a negative place, because my relationship with alcohol has been so bad in the past. Nothing has ever come good from me drinking alcohol. Nothing.
It's mad.
Nothing. And talk about full circle, Wayne. So I phoned Cheryl Lee. Oh, she'll hate me calling her that. I phoned Shell the day I had to get help, and she booked me into Longbridge the next morning. And she came to see me last Friday with her husband, Jim, who was one of my closest friends. And they've been with me all through from 24 years ago when we met in 2002. They've been with me. That's how we met in Tenerife. So we became friends in Tenerife. They live in Essex. They used to come to Tenerife 4, 5, 6, 7 times on holiday. We would have the most amazing times. I mean, we would do a lot. All of it involving alcohol. Some of the stories are incredible. And yeah, they are great memories. They were great memories. But for Jim to come to my show last Friday, who hadn't seen me for a long, long time on stage, and he just said to me, he went, the difference seeing you on that stage, commanding a room and entertaining a room full of people, he said, compared to years ago when you had to have at least a bottle of wine, he said, and then you had that wine, which would then create you this character. He said, but it would also then get into your mind, and if somebody wasn't smiling or clapping or joining in, you'd focus on them, and then you became quite vicious. What's the matter with you? Converse. Why you not? You know, that kind of reaction. He said, whereas now, we were in a holiday park a couple of weeks ago, last week. Holiday park, the holiday makers, they don't give a shit. Kids don't give a shit. Mums and dads don't give a shit. They didn't win the bingo. It's £5 a pint. It's £2 a litre for fuel. It's the end of the Easter holidays. People are miserable. But, you know, that's not my personal problem. My job is to go on stage and give what people in attendance a good time. He said, and that's all you focused on that night. You were enjoying yourself, and those who wanted to enjoy you enjoyed you. He said, and you came off and went, all right then, when's the next one? He said, and I've never seen that before. He said, because the last time I watched you performing, you were full of booze. Analysing yourself before you went on, looking at everybody in the audience. Well, he's not going to laugh. He looks miserable. She's losing. He said, and then you'd come off and you'd be like, oh, that was shit. That was shit. He said, even though you'd have a standing ovation, that was shit. That was shit. He said, because you've just got such a different mentality now. Your mind is. He phoned me up the next day just to tell me this. He said, I'm so proud.
I think you put something on Facebook about it, saying how weird it felt to get that from somebody, from like seeing it.
He phoned me up the next day. He just said, I just literally wanted to phone you up to say this and how proud I am of you. He said, and it was an absolute joy to watch. So I'm so proud. And that was it. And I've always said this, you know, I think I put this on one of the the sober pages today on Facebook. You know, nobody who got sober has ever regretted it.
No, that's the other thing I don't understand. I've even got my old boss when I worked for IC Shipping, Ian, he'll probably watch this. He's literally been a drinker for years. I used to go and watch him home and away with Warsaw, and he was my boss at IC Shipping. He stopped drinking, but that was forced on him by health. He got an issue with something, I don't know what it was, and the doctor said, got to stop drinking, mate, you've got to do it. So he started not drinking, and he's now posting nearly every other day, just going to pop in the pub, but don't worry everybody, it's for a non-alcoholic Guinness or a non-alcoholic blah, blah, blah. And I think he's got to nearly a month now, and he can't believe himself how well he feels, and he's going out and enjoying socialising, but without the alcohol, and he didn't think he could ever do it, the same as me. And he's just so happy, and it's great to see, because it just proves that you know, there's people that I've tried to help in the past. There's a girl, Paige, who lives in Spain. She's a singer. She reached out to me when I first tried doing self-help. I can't get my words out now. Self-help scenario last 2 years ago, saying she wanted to give up drinking, and I made her buy this book, and she bought it, and the rest is history. I think she's 2.5, 3 years now without drinking, and there are more and more people waking up to the issues that alcohol can make, and it's like really good to see. Because
It's amazing.
It is.
Let's get it right, Wayne. We are both performers and our profession is hospitality. So we need alcohol. Without alcohol, there'll be no venues. Without venues, me and you will be doing the bins. Not in Birmingham because the strike's still on. We'll be doing the bins in Manchester.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right. Somebody actually said that, a sarcastic somebody on one of my posts saying, do you realise what you're saying? What are you going to do with it if alcohol is completely banned? You won't have a job. And I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. But that's not the point of me trying to get these things across. That's not the point. Because I'm not telling people you must stop drinking. I'm saying anybody that wants to drink and wants you and me to give our stories to inspire them to give up, then that's what we're here for. We're not saying you must give up. You know what I mean? That's the other thing that you've got to try and get through to people, because they think, why are you pushing your beliefs onto me? I don't want to give up drinking. So I'm not asking you to give up drinking. That's completely irrelevant. You know what I mean? It's a weird one. But you just have to keep going. Because the one thing that I do realise, like, I'll put a post on Facebook and it get one like, and the algorithm means that that's it. And I'm thinking, am I wasting my time here? But then 2 days later, I'll have a message from a stranger that I don't know. I had one yesterday from someone in America, and all it said was, Wayne, I just want to thank you for your posts. I've been watching you for 2 years. I've seen your story, and some of your memes or things that you put on helped me through the day. And to hear that from a stranger, that makes it worthwhile. Do you know what I mean?
That's incredible.
Yeah, it's mad. Mad.
It is mad. I mean, and fair play to you for that, because you are very driven, you're very motivated, and it's to help other people. And if I could be in that position, I would, because, I'm very public, like I say, about my journey and my sobriety. But I mean, the last connection I had was yesterday off a guy in Nigeria. He was a prince, and his dad was going to send me 38 million Nigerian dollars, but I had to send him my bank details. So I've sent them. Just have to wait and see what happens.
That sounds like the same person that sent me one last year, and then I had all my money took out and I was skinned for 2 months. I fell for it. No. I have had emails from the same prince, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that prince was popular. The Nigerian prince is popular, man. Everybody's had emails from the Nigerian prince.
Anyway, mate, I know you've got to go because it's 2:00. What I want to say, obviously, thank you for coming on, because you're one of my best mates, and we don't see each other enough.
One off. I hope I'm one of the groomsmen.
Yeah, obviously. So, well, I am going to do this again. We'll get something in place. This was like a bit of a dress rehearsal. So once we've finished, I'm going to have a look at the quality of the recording and do some editing, and we'll run it by you first and see if there's anything that we can get onto social media and whatever. But we'll do it again.
And this isn't the best background, because that makes me look like a narcissist. It's just lots of pictures of me.
You're a narcissist? Not really.
I'm not.
No, you're not.
What about
I had a green screen when I first did it. And I forgot it's still in the loft, so I need to get that out, because at the moment I've got my bedroom wall with a mark on it. I'm not going to tell you how that mark got there. But
I can't see it. That
no, you can't see it. Okay.
No, it is quite grainy, to be fair, from this side. But obviously, as long as it's okay on your side, you've got to get the equipment, haven't you?
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. And I will see you on Sunday, and we'll have a proper catch up. So thanks for your time, mate. We'll have another chat.
We will definitely not have a catch up on Sunday. You'll probably come on with sailor, and it'll be like your wedding. You get pulled from pillar to post. Don't worry. You just got to, and don't forget to concentrate on you two. Don't worry about what other people are going to be doing on the day.
Give my love to Claire and Amalia, and I will see you on Sunday. And thank you very much, mate.
Likewise. See you Sunday, pal. Love you.
Love you, mate. Bye.